Sunday afternoon in Toronto, and the roof at Rogers Center is closed. It'll be indoor baseball as the Blue Jays look to sweep the New York Yankees in their first meeting of the season. Aaron Hill was the hitting hero in yesterday's game, delivering an RBI base hit to center field in the 14th, the first walk-off win for the Jays this season. Hello, everybody. I'm Buck Martinez, along with Pat Tapler. And, Pat, you and I have been around the game for a long time, and I don't care what kind of hitting ball clubs you're up against. Good starting pitching will shut down good hitting just about any day of the week.
You're right. The New York Yankees came into this series leading the American League in runs, batting average, on-base percentage. But Brett Cecil and Ricky Romero have neutralized the big bats with good placement of their fastball and really using their off-speed pitches to perfection. 16 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts, using a good changeup. Romero used that for 7 strikeouts yesterday.
Well, the starters have been outstanding, and Romero had those 7 strikeouts. A combination of off-speed pitches really confused the Yankee hitters. The homestand has been a good one. Despite the 2 losses to the Rays, you look at 6-2. That's a pretty impressive homestand.
Yeah, the 2 starts by Romero and Cecil have built on what everybody else has done. 6-2, a chance to go 7-2, and the offense has contributed also 17 home runs on this homestand. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Well, Brandon Morrow, last time out against Tampa Bay, pitched into the 8th inning, and he was exceptional. Got great defense behind him.
It was a different Brandon Morrow. Take a little miles per hour off that fastball, put the ball in play. He's got such great movement in the strike zone. The defense was ready. They made great plays, and when he needed to hump up and throw it hard, bam, right at the top of the strike zone for his only strikeout.
Yeah, very good outing. He's been great here at Rogers Center, going 4-1. And the one thing about the starters pitching so well and pitching late into the game, it's allowed the relievers to get plenty of rest. And because of that, they've been awfully effective lately. And for more on the bullpen, let's check in with Sam Cosentino.
Buck, the bullpen much maligned after 2 late-inning losses to the Tampa Bay Rays, but this bullpen has really responded here against the New York Yankees. Jason Frazier with 1 inning of work on Friday, and yesterday, 4 more relievers combined with Casey Janssen getting the win and improving to 4-0. Over the course of this series, the Blue Jays bullpen has basically given this team a start. 7 innings pitched, just a couple of walks, 8 strikeouts. They've thrown strikes, they've gotten ahead of hitters, but hopefully Cito Gaston won't have to rely on them too much here today after a 14-inning marathon a day ago.
Well, the bullpen allowed the hitters to take over in the 14th. Aaron Hill delivers a base hit to center field. Blue Jays walked off the Yankees' first walk-off win of the season. Now they look to sweep.
The Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
A rainy Sunday. Salvage one game of this three-game series. They lost 3-2 in yesterday's game, 6-1 on Friday night. Yankee lineup for Joe Girardi will feature the cleanup hitter Alex Rodriguez. He has done a number on the Jays here in this ballpark, 302. He's had 32 home runs and driven in 86 runs. It's a very balanced attack, and A-Rod is right in the middle of it. Mark Teixeira had a tough day yesterday. For the season, his average has dipped to 215. He was 0 for 6 with 5 strikeouts. Cano, Posada, Granderson, and then Cervelli and Gardner. Brett Gardner had a good day at the plate yesterday, but it's all about A-Rod hitting his cleanup spot in this ballpark. They'll be up against the right-hander, Brandon Morrow, who is 4-1 here at Rogers Center this season.
Brandon Morrow, this will be his 11th start of the season for Morrow, and that's a career high. It shows you how many or how few starts that Brandon Morrow has had in his career. 4-4 this year, and he bounced back in a big way, pitching a gem against the Tampa Bay Rays last time out, giving up just 1 run and 3 hits in 7 innings. Jays beat the Rays in that game 3-2. He didn't allow his first hit until there were 2 outs in the 6th inning. For his career, he's had a couple of starts against the Yankees. He's 1-0. Limiting them to 2 earned runs over the 12 innings that he has worked. Defensively for the Blue Jays, Lewis Wells and Jeremy Reed with the start in right field. Jose Bautista, for the 28th time, positions himself at third base. Edwin Encarnacion has some soreness. He has the day off. John Buck is not catching. That'll be Jose Molina behind the plate, and Jeremy Reed will get just his 2nd start in right field for the Blue Jays this season.
Well, we're set to go here as Derek Jeter will step in to face Brandon Morrow. Jeter, the leadoff batter. Yankees have lost the first 2 games of this 3-game series. First meeting of the 2 clubs this season. First pitch for a strike. Jeter had a 2-run home run off Ricky Romero in the 5th inning. That put the Yankees up 2-1 at that point. Jeter overmatched on an inside fastball.
That fastball hit 94 miles an hour. Very interesting, the first pitch of the game from Brandon Morrow, off-speed pitch. That's one thing that Bruce Walton has really been stressing with his right-hander is you've got great stuff, now let's learn to pitch.
0-2 to Jeter. Right in on his hands, he got a piece of it. Well, this pitching staff against the Yankees has been very effective. Brett Cecil on Friday, Ricky Romero for 8 innings last night and 7 strikeouts, and now Brandon Morrow. You've got to believe they're starting to feed off one another.
Yeah, that's a great point with youngsters like that, trying to build and build and build.
0-2 to Jeter. Got him. Brandon Morrow strikes out the first batter of the afternoon. He gets Derek Jeter on a breaking ball.
Off-speed pitch to pick up the strikeout. The last 2 nights, the Yankees have seen a lot of change-up, a different type of pitcher this afternoon in Brandon Morrow. More fastball, still great movement, good off-speed pitches.
Blue Jays pitchers struck out 14 Yankees in yesterday's game. Nick Swisher, switch hitter, batting second. He had a hit in 4 trips yesterday, including 2 walks late in the game. First pitch swinging, drills it to center field. Vernon Wells turns and runs on the warning track at the wall and makes a catch. Vernon Wells going as deep as he could in center. Robs Nick Swisher of extra bases.
Hey, you know his pitcher loves that. I don't know if it's his shoulder or his legs that hit that wall, but they hit it hard. First pitch swinging Swisher. You don't see a lot of that from him. But Wells goes back, reaches up, takes away extra bases. It looks like his arm overextended on that catch. Brandon Morrow loving that for the 2nd out.
We have seen an awful lot of good defensive plays throughout this homestand. This is the 9th game of the homestand. Mark Teixeira with 2 outs. Makes a pretty close pitch for a ball. .215 batting average, 0 for 6 in the game yesterday.
Joe Girardi was saying before the game that the .215 batting average is a surprise. They know that he is a slow starter. April is tough, but 2.5 months into the season, Mark Teixeira hitting .215.
Big surprise. He has always been a very slow starter, but traditionally, beginning of May, that bat comes around. 97 back-to-back. And down.
That's when he is most effective, when he is down in that strike zone.
A ball and 2 strikes. Teixeira to right. Jeremy Reed there and makes the catch. 9 pitches for Brandon Morrow in the first. Vernon Wells, a great defensive play in center. First inning, Lewis, Hill, and Lynn. Then the cleanup batter, Vernon Wells. He's on a 13-game hit streak. Over that time, he's hit .321 with 7 doubles, pounded out 3 home runs, and drove in 6. Wells in the game yesterday hit that solo home run into second off Andy Pettit. First home run to the opposite field all season long. That was number 14. Longest hit streak for the season was 17 games. Robinson Cano had that snapped first night here.
Javier Vasquez looks like he is turning around his season after his first 5 starts. Those first 5 starts produced an ERA around 10. He has given up 2 runs or fewer in 3 of his last 4 starts. He beat the O's last time out, pitching 7 innings of 1-run ball. He's made 5 career starts here in Toronto.
Fred Lewis had the sacrifice bunt in the 14th. He actually hit the ball much better than that 0 for 6 would reflect. Average slipped to .292. Reaches for an outside pitch. Vasquez is ahead 0-2. Yankees have pitched Lewis tough in this series.
Yeah, they certainly have, but he has hit the ball hard, like you were saying, driving Swisher to the wall in right field. He had a line drive right at Teixeira, the first baseman, for a double play. You know, there's nothing you can do about that. You can't guide the ball out there. Fred Lewis, just keep doing what you're doing.
Cervelli and Vasquez taking a while to get in agreement. Foul back. Francisco Cervelli very animated behind the plate. A high-energy catcher, a guy that really commands that the pitchers work quickly. He's upbeat, up-tempo, and does a pretty good job. Just 24 years old. Still having trouble getting to the right pitch for Vasquez. Off-speed pitch here, and Lewis strikes out.
Two of the better teams in the American League you're going to see in today's game defensively. The Yankees are second in the AL in fielding percentage. The Blue Jays are third. Here's how they'll line up: Gardner, Granderson, and Swisher in the outfield. Very good inner defense for the Yankees. You mentioned Cervelli. He'll be catching Vasquez, and even though Mark Teixeira has not been hitting, he's still a presence defensively. Gold Glove first baseman, presents a big target over there at first base, and you know you're always going to get his best effort.
Aaron Hill, the hitting hero in yesterday's game, delivered in the 14th. It was his 19th RBI, a walk-off single to center. Drove in Edwin Encarnacion with the winning run. Right field, that's trouble. Down the right line, into the corner, and foul. Swisher was way over in the gap in right center, and that ball just sliced out of play down the right field line.
When it left the bat, it looked like it was going to be extra bases, but just squirted foul. Balls off the right side there are going to slice into the stands. Blue Jays aren't losing any confidence over Aaron Hill's start.
No. He's the one that just has to realize he's having good at-bats, and it's starting to build a good, solid foundation. Off the plate outside, even in last night's game, he walked in the 10th and walked in the 12th. And then that got him into a pretty good frame of mind when he came to the plate with a chance to win it in the 14th.
And big hits like that can really springboard you into a hot streak.
A ball and 2 strikes. Poked into rights, but Swisher's got a beat on it. Over in right center, makes the catch, 2 outs.
So you just keep putting together good at bat after good at bat, and after about 2 or 3 weeks, you look up and that average is sitting about 280.
It really doesn't take long. I mean, you just have to realize that you start having those good at bats, 3 and 4 good at bats a day, a couple of hits here and there, and all of a sudden you'll climb out of the abyss. Javier Vasquez, 2 outs here in the first. Adamman takes the first pitch fastball low. A lot of offers in the game yesterday for both lineups. Lind himself was 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts. Certainly gets overshadowed when you win the game.
Easy to forget those.
Yeah.
Still in the back of your mind, though.
He hit the ball hard a couple of times as well. Nick Swisher made a great play on him in the 10th with Aaron Hill at first base as Lind hit a ball. Looked like he had a chance to get out of the ballpark, but Swisher robbed him of extra bases up against the fence in right. Four-pitch walk by Vasquez here with 2 outs in the first.
We were asking Cito Gaston before the game about that play that you were just talking about with Lynn. He says, boy, the outfielders were deep. And they had to because they were no double situation. He said they were out in the shadows, that type of the game, and that is about 2 steps from the warning track.
Vernon Wells will bat with 2 outs and a man on. Wells had a home run in his first at bat yesterday in the 2nd inning off Andy Pettitte. First pitch swinging, a 2-hopper to Rodriguez, who gets the force out at second. Quick inning for both pitchers here in the first. We're scoreless after 1.
The All-Star to represent the Toronto Blue Jays at the Major League Baseball All-Star Game in Anaheim. Today's profile, Elaine Vollett. In 1991, Elaine established the Center for Dreams in Markham, Ontario. The organization, which started out of her basement at home, is dedicated to providing a curriculum designed specifically for adults with intellectual challenges. Winners from each of the 30 Major League Baseball teams will represent their respective clubs at the All-Star Game in Anaheim. Vote at peopleallstars.com.
Thank you, Sammy. Great program by Major League Baseball to identify some very worthy people helping their community grow. Brandon Morrow has got a special fastball here early in this game, and it's been down very effectively. Alex Rodriguez just 2 for 10 in the series, hitting .295 on the season. High chopper toward third, and it gets by both Bautista and Gonzalez, and A-Rod's going to second. They got a shot at him at second. What a mistake by Rodriguez. Oh, my. Big break for the Blue Jays.
Alex Rodriguez is thinking about infield singles, so he's going to go down the line hard. But once he hit the bag at first base, he didn't try and find the ball. I don't think he got any help either. Communication problems between the third baseman and the shortstop. And when the ball went out into short left field, Rodriguez went down, looked, thought about going, stopped, thought about it, and then went again. Watch him. He's thinking about it. He stops. He's thinking about, okay, I'm going to go. And that was where he was caught.
Now, once you hesitate like that, you've got to shut it down and just be satisfied with the single. Robbie Cano takes a first pitch strike. Boy, that's a big break. Once again, showing the lack of communication just because Bautista and Gonzalez haven't played next to each other for a while.
Yeah, they certainly haven't. About a week or so it has been since we saw Bautista at third base. Edwin Encarnacion with the day off. Bautista comes in from right field, and you can see there was a problem there between the two infielders.
Breaking ball bounced and gloved by Molina. 2 balls and a strike to Robinson Cano. Cano 0 for 10 in this series. Came into the series the leading hitter in the major leagues at .373. Blue Jays pitched him tough. A lot of late movement on that fastball. He was able just to get a piece of it.
Yankees came into this series averaging over 7 runs a game during the 5-game winning streak they had while they were at home. But Toronto has pitched them tough, giving up just 3 runs. Yankees are hitting .169 in the 2 losses here at Rogers Center.
Fair ball down the left field line, and the ball boy comes out and grabs it. Wow. Reacting very quickly, and didn't realize to this moment that that was a fair ball.
And that would have been close because the ball was hit so hard by Cano.
Fred Lewis always getting over to that foul line quickly, but the ball boy reacted very quickly. Just inside the bag at third.
Definitely fair. It was going to ricochet hard off that wall and right to Fred Lewis, and there was going to be a play at second base. But Cano will take it, his 18th double of the season. And now that play by Alex Rodriguez looks even bigger.
A 1-out double for Cano, his 18th double of the season. DH Jorge Posada will bat. And high fastball. This is the best fastball we've seen for the last couple of starts from Brandon Morrow. 97, 96 consistently with a lot of movement.
So far for him, the best that I've seen from him was that start in Cleveland. Wow. He was 98, 99 miles an hour. Now he can pitch there, but he's better when he's a little bit lower.
Missed with the fastball upstairs. Bruce Walton talked about that mound in Cleveland and suggested because of the pitch of the mound that pitchers will throw a couple miles an hour harder there. There's a very steep front side to the mound. They get a lot of leverage off that mound. Ball on a strike to Posada. Jumps back out of the way. One thing the Blue Jays have done in this series, and you tell me if this is effective, is they've been very aggressive against the Yankee hitters. Inside with a lot of pitches and pushing them back.
I think aggressive early in the count, because everybody knows that the Yankees have a good pitch recognition and they take a lot of pitches. If you are strike one early in a count, then you can make the Yankees swing the bat.
Ricky Romero, Brian Talent. Red sees a pretty good picture of 4 starters. Sean Markham there with him. Good breaking ball. Late breaking ball and just overmatched Posada. Second strikeout of the day.
2 strikes early and then got him with that breaking ball. Let's take a look at the scouting report for young Brandon Morrow. He is strong at 92 and 93, something we were just talking about. He can pitch at 97 or 98, but he's very strong when he's in the low 90s. Sharp slider, he'll use that for his strikeout pitches, and he's better down. He can get you out up in the strike zone, but it's always better if you can stay down, and when he does that, his ball's got a lot of movement on it.
First pitch strike to Curtis Granderson. Granderson did not start in the ball game yesterday. Came on as a pinch hitter. Pinch hit in the 10th and was a strikeout victim. Also flew out in the 12th. Good late movement, catches the inside corner.
If there's anybody on the field for the Toronto Blue Jays who should know these Yankee hitters, it's Jose Molina. Spent last year with him as a backup catcher, knows the weaknesses of these hitters. You watch him this afternoon, he goes right to his play calling. He knows what he wants. I love how he receives the ball. Pitchers have told me it seems like when he catches the ball, everything is a strike. And that's got to be very positive when you're out on that mound.
A ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Cano at second. Granderson strikes out. Blocked by Molina to throw to first base for the out. Morrow strikes out 2 in the inning. Strands Cano. Blue Jays will bat bottom of the second. Jose Bautista's had a big series. 2 homers on Friday night. Number 17 and 18. Major league leader in home runs.
Also, that's a grounds crew replacement, but I don't have his name. I just texted Kevin, but he doesn't.
The Jays on Rogers Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Back at Rogers Center, this is the ball boy down the left field line. Gary Darling, the crew chief, comes over and takes his glove away from him because he jumped up and caught a fair ball off the bat of Robbie Cano. And then Gary Darling says, "Officer, would you take care of this, please?" Very well done. But the ball boy down there is a grounds crew member that's serving as a replacement for the regular ball boy. Just got excited when he saw that ball coming at him.
Made a nice play.
Jose Bautista takes a pitch for a strike, evens the count at 1-1. Mentioned Bautista, 18 home runs. His last 2 home runs came on Friday night against A.J. Burnett. That ball got the umpire, Bruce Dreckman, right on the right arm. You see Cervelli saying, "You'll be all right."
He
Give him a little pat on the arm.
He is animated. He loves playing the game of baseball. Just a young player to the umpire patting him on the shoulder and going out there, taking a little time, take the sting out away from him.
Well, it's good to see the ball boy got his glove back. 1-2. Just got a piece of it to stay alive. A ball and 2 strikes. Bautista leading off the second. Lays off the slider. Bautista's done a good job not only hitting home runs, but being very selective at the plate. Got a pretty good eye.
I think if you are aggressive and you are in swing mode, ball that is just off the plate, you recognize it earlier.
Quick no swing down at first base. Paul Emmel, the first base umpire, waving no swing early. A full count here leading off the second.
Looking at some of the stats for most pitches seen per plate appearance, Jose Bautista is up there. You wouldn't think that from a big slugger, but he has put together some very good at-bats.
Good eye, takes the breaking ball off the plate. A leadoff walk.
Javier Vasquez has been around a long time. He has pitched in the American League as well as the National League. The scouting report, he's a very poised pitcher. He doesn't get rattled very easily on the mound. 2 types of fastballs. He'll sink it. He's got that rising fastball curve, the slider. He'll throw a changeup, and he'll throw it any time, any count. A strikeout pitcher. He's always piled up big strikeout numbers in his career.
Vasquez has been kind of an interesting guy, and coming into the season, 142 and 139, almost a 500 pitcher for his entire career.
Who would have thought that with some of the years that he's put together?
Got great stuff, but it always seems like he makes a mistake during the course of a game. Alex Gonzalez takes the first pitch down. Bautista with the leadoff walk. In high into shallow left field. Brett Gardner makes the catch. 2 outs here.
Well, one thing I know that we will see this afternoon is a lot of strikeouts. Javier Vasquez averaging 8 strikeouts per 9 innings pitched. This is some of the best in all of baseball. And when Brandon Morrow is right, he's got a very high strikeout to 9 innings ratio.
And Brandon Morrow is going to be among these guys right there before it's all said and done. I mentioned 2 outs. It's just 1 out. Bautista with the leadoff walk. Lyle Overbay had a good day at the plate yesterday. Had 3 hits and a walk. One out here in the second. We're scoreless. Cervelli faked a throw to first base and forced Bautista to dive back into first. Ball in dirt, gets away from Cervelli, and Bautista will move up. Cervelli a little bit late in getting that glove down and allows Bautista to go to second. That takes the Jays out of a double play situation.
Very active behind the plate, very quick, but can't get it down, and the ball scooted on him. Looked like a sinking fastball, so when it hit the dirt, it didn't come straight up. It went to the side. It'll be charged a wild pitch, the third of the season for Vasquez. And more importantly, like you said, takes the double play away.
Blue Jays, a runner in scoring position, one out here. Breaking ball for a strike.
What were we talking about before the game? That the Blue Jays for 13 innings had runners on yesterday?
Andy Pettitte struck out the side in the first.
That was it.
After that, they had a runner on every inning. But all they could score were 3 runs. That was just enough. Overbay pops it up. Behind second. Cano is there and makes the catch. Jeremy Reed gets a start in right field here this afternoon. Chance to put another left-handed bat in the lineup against Javier Vasquez.
Not a bad idea with Vasquez. Lefties hitting over 300 against him. Edwin Encarnacion with the day off. Cito was telling us before the game that he's had some soreness. He's played a few games in a row.
Breaking ball for a strike. Blue Jays have a scheduled off day tomorrow, so if Encarnacion doesn't play today, they'll have 2 days off to get right for that Tampa Bay series that begins on Tuesday.
And he also wants to, Cito has to get Jeremy Reed some at-bats because he's going to play some on the road. No DH when they go to Colorado and San Diego. So he was talking about Vernon Wells possibly getting a day off, Adam Lind. Says he'd love to give Jose Bautista a day off, but he's swinging the bat so well, I can't take him out of the lineup.
Tough to sit that bat on the bench. 1-1 to Reed. Good changeup out in front. A ball and 2 strikes. 2 outs here, bottom of the second. Javier Vasquez against Brandon Morrow. The pitchers have had the upper hand throughout this series. Certainly Brett Cecil shut down the Yankees very effectively on Friday. Breaking ball tapped foul. You look at these 2 ball clubs and how proficient they are at scoring runs, and then you check the batting average with runners in scoring position. The Yankees are 2 for 20, including 0 for 2 today. The Blue Jays are 1 for 10. 2 pretty good hitting clubs shut down. Reed goes down swinging. Javier Vasquez strikes out his second batter of the afternoon, strands a base runner in second. We're scoreless after 2 at Rogers Center.
Player draft takes place Monday night at 7. The Blue Jays have 4 picks in the first 41, and Roberto Alomar will be on hand in Secaucus, New Jersey to make that first selection at the Major League Baseball television studios. You can follow along and see who the Blue Jays have selected at bluejays.com Monday night.
Well, it's a great time for organizations. Blue Jays have all their scouts in town to try to evaluate their draft choices. Francisco Cervelli pops up the first pitch into right field, and Jeremy Reed makes the catch. Derek Jeter was a first-round pick of the Yankees in 1992. He was the 6th overall pick, which is hard to fathom. How can there be 5 guys better than Derek Jeter? But when you look at the names, you can understand. Phil Nevin was number 1 out of Cal State Fullerton. Paul Shuey of the Indians was number 2. B.J. Wallace of the Expos. Jeffrey Hammonds came out of Stanford. He was drafted by Baltimore. And Chad Mottola, big prospect with the Reds. Looked like he was going to be a real good player.
They still talk about that in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That they passed on Derek Jeter, and they had Barry Larkin at the time, and they figured, well, we don't need another shortstop. Isn't it funny how fate works like that?
Brett Gardner takes a fastball on the corner. Baltimore picked 4th in that draft and took Jeffrey Hammonds. They, too, had a pretty good shortstop, Cal Ripken. So, you know, it's all about needs. But I think in this particular atmosphere, the Blue Jays are going to take the best player available, whether it's a high school player or a college player.
Yeah, regardless of position, it doesn't matter. You have to hit on your number 1 pick, and the Blue Jays have the 11th pick overall. They should be able to get a pretty good player.
2 balls and a strike to Brett Gardner. Sliced out of play. There was some concern that Derek Jeter was going to sign with the University of Michigan. He had a letter of intent already signed, and that he might go to Michigan. And the scout that was tracking Jeter, Dick Groach, said he's not going to Michigan. He's going to Cooperstown. Boy, was he right about that. Bruce Dreckman has had a little bit of a rough start to this day behind the plate. Molina didn't get a glove on it. It looked like it hit Dreckman
right in the foot. Yep. Ricochets off his leg.
He got one in the shoulder, one in the leg. Molina with the old my bad to the ump.
That doesn't help, does it?
No. Foul back. 3-2 here, top of the 3rd inning. Brandon Morrow pitched around a 1-out double in the 2nd, struck out Posada and Granderson to end the 2nd inning. .96 fouled out of play.
Gardner's tough.
Tough 2-strike hitter.
He's got the most 2-strike hits in the major leagues. Picked up another one yesterday when he singled into right field.
Fly ball toward the gap in left center. Nobody's going to get that one. It bounces on the wall. Vernon Wells gets it back in. Gardner's around 3rd. He is going to be stopped at 3rd. Head first slide with a triple. Vernon Wells had a little trouble digging that ball off the turf, and for a moment looked like Gardner might think about making a break for home.
Fastball away, and Gardner, the left-hander, slices the ball to left field. The only person who had a chance was Wells. When that ball hits up against the wall on this turf, it dies. No chance to get Gardner, who comes around first base, and he's thinking 3. Yankees now lead the American League in triples with 15. The last time they led the AL in triples, you have to go all the way back to 1971, and Gardner's a big part of that.
That's his 3rd triple of the season. Infield in now for Derek Jeter. Throw to 3rd. And Gardner's back in safely.
That is a set play that the Blue Jays will use from time to time with a runner at third base, a good right-handed batter, because he'll block off where the catcher is for that runner. Fastball in, and the momentum of the catcher is going towards third base, and you try and catch him by surprise. Can't really do it with a left-handed batter.
A ball and no strikes. Good fastball with 97 at the knees. Not only is he throwing hard, he's making good pitches with that fastball.
And you see good movement on it also. And Jeter was really surprised his first time up with the fastballs that Brandon Morrow threw him.
Foul back off the screen. Now Molina, if he's thinking about that breaking ball, really has to think about blocking it, because Morrow's going to throw it hard. Molina asked if he went too far, and Bruce Dreckman said nope, checked his swing. It's 2-2. Jeter struck out on a slider in his first at bat. Got him again. What a pitch. Down and away with late break. It exploded.
Second time this afternoon that he's got a tough hitter in Jeter. Watch where it is. The pitch and the late movement as he twists the breaking ball off, completely fooling Derek Jeter.
Well, he's not out of the woods yet. He's got Nick Swisher at the plate, the switch hitter. Took Vernon Wells to the wall in center his first time up. That ball started off the plate inside and broke over the middle. No balls and a strike. 0-2.
Boy, one inside, one outside.
Brett Gardner at third with the one-out triple. Jeter struck out. Another aggressive fastball up and in, straightened up Swisher.
There are his numbers in 8 games. 2 of them starts while he was a member of the Seattle Mariners.
Just got a piece of it. Good breaking ball that Swisher fouled off. Top of the third inning, we're scoreless. Brandon Morrow working to Nick Swisher. A ball and 2 strikes. Got him. Fastball at the knees on the inside corner. Brandon Morrow pitches around a one-out triple. Morrow has 5 strikeouts. Great fastball on the inside corner. Up here again this afternoon on Sunday, and we just want to send out some baseball greetings to a great Blue Jay fan, Ruth Hargrove, on her 100th birthday. Oh, it's wonderful, and we're so happy that you're joining us to enjoy Blue Jays baseball. And we want to send you a happy birthday wish from Pat and Buck on your 100th birthday. Happy birthday, Ruth.
Happy birthday.
What a closeout inning by Brandon Morrow to end the Yankee threat in the third. Now Jose Molina will lead off bottom of the third against Javier Vasquez.
Isn't that impressive when you give up the triple and you're able to leave him standing out there?
Yeah, no panic. He's got that kind of arm where he can strike out tough hitters. That's what he did to Jeter and Swisher. Two balls and no strikes. One thing we have seen with this young pitching staff, I think, composure beyond their experience. Nobody gets rattled. And they've had some ugly innings.
Yep.
And they've had some opportunities to get rattled, but they continue to improve and gain confidence and improve on their composure.
You know who I think that's a reflection on? Both Bruce Walton, who is such a positive pitching coach, and Rick Langford, who had a lot of these kids in the minor leagues, and Rick Langford never gets rattled at all.
No. And certainly you reflect those two gentlemen's personalities in this rotation for sure. Rick Langford and Walton, boy, they really work well together, and they do a heck of a job keeping these kids upbeat. Not to mention how they've refined their pitching. Leadoff walk here in the third. Buck Martinez, Pat Tabler here at Rogers Center. We're scoreless bottom of the third. Jose Molina walked, and now it'll be the leadoff batter, Fred Lewis. Lewis, a strikeout victim in the first. Off-speed pitch up and away. Look at Cervelli out in front of home plate saying, come on, let's throw a strike. We can't help you until you start throwing strikes.
That's been the pattern for Javier Vasquez in his career. He starts out very strong at the beginning of the game with great stuff, and towards the end, later in the ball game, batters are hitting .370 against him.
And Vasquez has a good arm, and he has the full complement of pitches. He commands the strike zone pretty effectively, consistently. One thing he is consistent. 200 innings year in and year out. Signed with the Expos in 1994. Popped back out of play. Came to the Yankees in 2004. Was acquired in the deal. That included Randy Choate, Nick Johnson, and Juan Rivera. They all went from New York to Montreal for Javier Vasquez.
And that time it didn't work out for him, that first time through New York.
He was 14-10, but had a bad second half. Fred Lewis fights it off. Bounces out of play. But after he rejoined the club this spring, they talked about the second half of the year, how he had a bad elbow, but didn't really say much about it. Just tried to pitch through it, and that never works. Went from New York to Arizona. Wasn't really happy being that far west with the Diamondbacks. Pitched just 1 year there. Then went back to Chicago for 3 years and pitched last year with the Braves.
Had a big year last year for the Atlanta Braves.
Two balls, two strikes to Fred Lewis. Another off-speed pitch. Lewis strikes out. Let's check in with Sam to give us a little update on the farm report.
Well, as we get ready for the draft upcoming tomorrow, let's take you back to 2009 as we look at our Sunday farm report. Chad Jenkins, the 20th overall pick, who is currently in A-ball. David Cooper, the year before that, in Double-A. A couple of first-rounders, Aaron Sebia, with Aaron Sebia making great progress in Triple-A. And Travis Snyder, of course, the 14th overall pick in 2006. On the DL, but hopes to be back in the next couple of weeks.
Great time for the organization to try to restock the minor leagues, and you just really you don't know what's going to be out there and who's going to be available when your turn comes. The Blue Jays, I believe, are 11th.
Yep.
First round pick.
The last couple of years, we have seen some good players slip down because of signability, and I don't think that's going to be a problem this year for Toronto.
Popped out of play. 0-2 to Aaron Hill. Jose Molina at first, he had the leadoff walk. On the ground, Jeter. Cano for one, back to first, not in time. Aaron Hill beats the return throw to first base. Keeps the inning alive, and the Yankees couldn't turn two.
It's interesting to watch some of these teams come into the Rogers Center now on this new turf. And teams talk about how slow it is. Jeter had to wait a long time for that ball to get to him. By that time, Aaron Hill was going to beat it out. Even though Cano's got a very strong and accurate, quick arm, Hill hustles it out and keeps the inning alive.
Adam Lind pulls the first pitch foul. Toronto does a good job of staying out of the double plays. They've hit into the second fewest double plays in the American League. Only Tampa Bay has grounded into fewer double plays. And that's important when you hit home runs.
You better not be wiping two guys out with one swing. And that might be a reason why we had them at first base. Why they don't hit into a lot of double plays, because they hit so many home runs. Fly ball hitting team.
But then, too, I think the hustle, because the players know, hey, if I keep this inning alive, I got a good bat behind me.
Yep.
We've seen that with Travis Snyder early in the year, who's actually saved the game. Hill's done it a few times, and his team just doesn't ground into too many double plays. Off-speed pitch gets Adam Lind. Javier Vasquez strikes out two in the inning. Off speed, very effective for him early in the game. Enjoying those big comfy chairs in the TD Canada Trust Comfort Zone are volunteers from the Daily Food Bank and friends, courtesy TD Canada Trust. Once again, they are enjoying a very good pitcher's duel here at Rogers Center. Mark Teixeira fouls the first ball off his foot. Yankees have 3 hits, but nothing to show for it. Actually had back-to-back hits in the second, but Alex Rodriguez was caught trying to advance from first to second, and Cano had the double, so that was a big play in the second inning. Fastball away. Brandon Morrow has 5 strikeouts to this point. Yankees struck out 14 times in yesterday's game. Good late movement. That's the 2-seam fastball.
One of the things that Brandon Morrow was talking about after his last start, he says, I pretty much want to stay within my mechanics and stay on the plate. Well, he's certainly doing that this afternoon. If you stay within your mechanics and stay within yourself, it's going to allow you to put the ball where you need to. Says I need to pick a spot every time a batter steps up there and throw to that spot. I need to make pitches. He certainly has been doing that this afternoon.
Good pitch, fouled out of play. Brandon Morrow at home has pitched so much better than he has on the road. He is pitching in his 34th inning here in the 4th. He has not walked a batter today, and he has walked just 8 at home all year. Grounded to the first baseman, Overbay, in fair ground, and steps on the bag. Teixeira is asking if that was a fair ball. Well, after this Yankee game this afternoon, Blue Jays will fly down to Tampa, enjoy an off day on Monday, and then they'll begin a 3-game series. Good pitching matchups, all 3 games.
Yeah, Talent versus Neiman on Tuesday night. Wednesday is the recreation of the game we saw last Wednesday, what was outstanding. Markham versus Price, and then Brett Cecil will get his second look at Tampa this year. They'll be going up against Wade Davis.
A lot of good ERAs in that series. Brett Cecil is on a roll. Cecil's 4-0 with a 1.52 ERA in his last 4 starts. Alex Rodriguez takes the first pitch down for a ball. Two balls and no strikes to the cleanup hitter. Rodriguez had an infield single his first at bat. Bounced between the third baseman Bautista and the shortstop Gonzalez. Nobody touched it, and just trickled into the outfield. No swing, says Paul Emmel. But then when Rodriguez saw the ball in left field, he broke for second, and Bautista made a strong throw to Aaron Hill to gun down Rodriguez trying to advance. 3-0. Good strike.
But not before hesitating. And he who hesitates gets thrown out at second.
By a wide margin. Three balls and a strike.
Threw that fastball by him.
In a hitter count.
Yep, 3-1-2, a pretty good hitter. Leads all active players in home runs. And he was just a little tardy.
Full count. Foul back. There was some concern about the Blue Jays after losing back-to-back games to Tampa Bay in the 9th inning. How they were going to bounce back. Would they go into a shell? Boy, we have seen no evidence of that whatsoever. Got him. That ball exploded at 98 miles an hour on the inside corner.
Go back and look at the tape, and you're right. Right on the inside corner, what fooled Rodriguez, he's looking out away. And this one comes over. How about the job Jose Molina does in framing that one? He might catch it on the heel or catch it on the thumb, but he keeps that hand right there and shows Bruce Dreckman that it's a strike.
6 strikeouts for Brandon Morrow. Cano, left field in deep. Fred Lewis over in the quarter and makes the catch in fair territory. Fred Lewis uses his wheels to get over near the foul line, and in the 4th inning, still scoreless. I want to say a special happy birthday to Chris Mitchell, who works at video down in the truck, and we wouldn't be able to do our job with all the fine work all these people do. 3-0 for Chris, and happy birthday, Chris, from all the boys up here in the booth, and we appreciate everything you do down in that truck.
This poor kid.
The ball boy is taking a beating today. B.J. Birdie said, don't touch the baseballs that are on the field, and then puts a stay in that territory and don't come out again.
Only on foul balls, right?
Brendan Wells hits with no score here in the bottom of the 4th. 2 balls and no strikes on Wells. Then breaking ball cut on and missed. Blue Jays have had base runners on in every inning of this game so far. That runs their consecutive inning streak to 16. They've had a base runner on against the Yankees in 16 straight innings. Popped up, foul ground. Cervelli over by the Yankees dugout and makes the catch. 1 out here in the 4th.
I have to do the math, but they've left a runner on base every inning since the 5th inning in yesterday's game. So 9 plus 3. The 12 straight innings?
Well, they had 13 straight in yesterday's game. 13 more and 3 more today.
Okay, 16 straight innings that they have left a runner on base.
1 out for Bautista. It's a first pitch strike from Vasquez. I think everybody has recognized that Runs are tough to come by in this series.
Yeah, and it's not just the starters, it's both bullpens. Blue Jays were great yesterday. 6 innings of relief. They only gave 4 base runners to the Yankees, and we saw their best, except Mariano Rivera. Chamberlain was good. Marte.
Robertson, Park. Godin was charged with the loss in the 14th.
Writers were asking Joe Girardi this morning about, well, why didn't you bring in your closer, Mariano Rivera? And he says, look, he's 40 years old. He's not a 25-year-old multiple innings guy. He's a 40-year-old closer, and that's what his job is. He's the closer. If he throws 2 innings yesterday, he's unavailable this afternoon.
A ball and 2 strikes. Fouled back. He saved Mariano Rivera for that opportunity that never came. Get the lead on the road. Then he comes in to pitch the bottom of that inning. Scott Downs, Kevin Gregg, Sean Kemp, Casey Jansen, all very good out of the Blue Jays bullpen in relief of Ricky Romero yesterday. Vasquez wanted it. 2-2. Went upstairs and Bautista strikes out. 5 strikeouts now for Vasquez.
Well, he had a definite plan what he wanted to do against Bautista, who's had some pretty good success against Javier Vasquez, and that was get the 2 strikes and then elevate the fastball.
Alex Gonzalez flied to left. Cuts on a breaking pitch. Blue Jays have not swept the Yankees here at Rogers Center since 2000. September of 2000, the last time they took a 3-game series from the Yankees here at this ballpark. Off the end of the bat, squibbed in foul ground. In that series, Steve Traxel beat Andy Pettit 16-3. Esteban Loaiza beat David Cone 7-2. And David Wells beat El Duque, Orlando Hernandez 3-1. That was Wells' 20th victory of the season.
And that was the last time they beat him here.
Yep.
Swept him here.
Last time they swept the Yankees in this ballpark. 0-2 on Gonzalez. Popped back out of play.
They have swept the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. You only have to go back 7 years for that.
A 4-game series, they swept the Yankees in 2003. This would be a great way to finish up this homestand. Final game of a 9-game homestand. Currently 6-2. Swept the Orioles, lost 2 of 3 against Tampa Bay, and won the first 2 here against New York. Struck him out. Vasquez has 6 strikeouts. Got Gonzalez to chase the outside pitch. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Pitchers once again setting a very tough tone here. Scoreless after 4.
return home next on the 18th of June against the San Francisco Giants from the 18th to the 20th, and then the St. Louis Cardinals pay a visit from the 22nd to the 24th. For tickets to the upcoming homestand, you can call 416-341-1234, visit most Rogers Plus locations, or, of course, check out BlueJays.com.
Well, the St. Louis Cardinals have gotten on a little bit of a roll of late. They now lead the National League Central Division over Cincinnati by a game. San Francisco, 4 games over 500. They are 2.5 back in the National League West.
And if you're coming to any of those games against the Cardinals, get here early and watch Albert Pujols take batting practice, because it is something special.
Yeah, and you got a chance to see Wainwright and Carpenter pitch. Tim Lincecum and Matt Cain, Barry Zito, great pitching matchups. Possible all throughout the interleague stretch. Brandon Morrow, Javier Vasquez hooked up in another pitcher's duel. We're scoreless here in the 5th. Breaking ball. 0-2, and boy, Brandon Morrow's done a great job of staying ahead of these Yankee hitters. And the game plan coming in was to be aggressive, go after him.
Aggressive early and make them swing. 0-2 again on Posada. Think about these starters, what they have done into the middle of the lineup is what is impressive in yesterday's game. You're talking about Teixeira, A-Rod, Cano, and Posada, 4 excellent hitters. Yesterday, 2 for 24 with 10 strikeouts. Romero got ahead early, finished them off, and Brandon Morrow so far this afternoon is doing the same thing.
Breaking ball bounced to Overbay, gives ground, makes a strong throw to Morrow. You look at the AL East, an awful lot of good ball clubs, and the Blue Jays are right there amongst the best in the American League. Tampa Bay, top of the heap, and then the Yankees, Twins, and there the Blue Jays. 33-24, tied with the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox really coming on strong. They have really played great of late. Boston won 7 of their last 10 ball games, and David Ortiz is swinging the bat very well right now.
You can put Texas in that spot also, about teams who are starting to make a move in the American League.
Texas got Tommy Hunter back in their rotation yesterday, and he won his first start of the season.
Josh Hamilton's starting to heat up for the Rangers.
Yeah, Hamilton's got 11 home runs now. 2 balls, no strikes on Curtis Granderson. And excuse me, fouled to the left side. Granderson was on the disabled list with a strained groin, missed about a month of the season. He did it running the bases at Yankee Stadium. Off speed pitch, missed down. 3 balls and a strike. And then Morrow has not walked a batter here this afternoon. Long drive to right field, but Jeremy Reed has it under control and makes the catch. Top of 5, there are 2 outs for the catcher, Francisco Cervelli. You've been wondering about Cervelli's helmet. It is oversized. He is wearing that special helmet, a little bit larger than normal. Swings at the first pitch and hops it up into center field. Brendan Wells gets over, calls for it, and makes the catch. He'll tell you about that helmet next time he hits. 3 up, 3 down here in the 5th. We're still scoreless. Who is going to help us out explaining the Cervelli helmet situation, and you pick out which helmet you think is Francisco Cervelli's, and obviously there it is in the middle of your frame. It's a big helmet, and the reason he wears it, he got hit in the head in Winter Bowl and then got hit in the head again in spring training playing a game against Baltimore. So that helmet is a special helmet designed to protect you against concussion. And anytime one player suffers a concussion, they're really guarded against the possibility of further concussion, so that's why he wears the helmet.
Big helmet. Derek Jeter tried to wear it in BP one day. Says, I don't know how you swing a bat with that big old moonhead. They call him Gazoo. That's his nickname that they have given him because of that big helmet.
And let me tell you something, and Derek Jeter is the leader of the pack when it comes to getting on guys. David Wright tried to wear it for a while with the Mets, and I think he just got too uncomfortable with it. But it's a very good safety item, and certainly anybody that's had a history of concussion should consider wearing it. Lyle Overbay leads things off here in the 5th. Vasquez with a 1-1 count to Overbay. Cut on missed. Boy, both pitchers have really done a great job of moving the ball around the strike zone and utilizing a lot of late movement.
Vasquez doesn't throw as hard as Brandon Morrow, but he does it just as effectively. He'll throw that fastball away, change up, move the ball around the strike zone to these hitters. Blue Jays have only had 2 base runners. Check that, 3 base runners, 3 walks, 1 in each of the first 3 innings.
There's a strikeout. 3 straight strikeouts now for Javier Vasquez.
All of them swinging. Different types of pitches. There's that changeup that goes down and away to a right-hander. Overbay swings over the top.
1 out now for Jeremy Reed. Reed, a strikeout victim in the 2nd. Fastball for a strike. In on his hands, and he fouled it out of play. No balls and 2 strikes, 1 out here, bottom of the 5th. Right back to Vasquez. Reed's retired. 2 up, 2 down here in the 5th.
Cervelli really has a good presentation behind home plate, doesn't he? He's always thinking, and he reminds me of their coach, Tony Pena, when Tony Pena first came up. Very animated, really showing the pitchers where he wants the ball and trying to trick him. A lot of times he'll act like he's sliding to the inside and then at the last minute slide to the outside. Tony Pena was like that. Very good catcher when he was young.
Yeah, Tony was very animated, and I think what it does, it draws attention to your target. You move around, you really accentuate your target, and pitchers have a tendency to really focus in on that glove.
You can tell he's got good young legs. He can get down low and give a good target, but he's tapping the ground certain times to get the hitter to think that he's sliding to the inside, and then he'll move to the outside.
Fastball foul up the right side. 2 outs here in the 5th. Molina walked in his last at bat. Went too far. Vasquez again with the big strikeout pitch through the breaking ball down and away to Jose Molina. Vasquez has struck out 8. We're scoreless after 5. Complete here at Rogers Center, and both starting pitchers have really been on their game.
Just like yesterday's game when Romero and Pettit hooked up. Pettit had 10 strikeouts. Ricky Romero had 7. Today's starters outdoing both of them. Vasquez hasn't given up a hit in 5 innings. He has 8 strikeouts. That's a season high already. His career high is 14. He's on his way for that, and Brandon Morrow has been great. Just 3 hits in his 5 innings, and he has 6 strikeouts through 5 innings.
A lot of swings and misses here this afternoon, and that has been a theme over the last couple of days. Pitchers have dominated 2 good lineups. So Morrow is set to work to Brett Gardner, who tripled in the 3rd, but he was stranded as Morrow struck out Jeter and Swisher to end the threat. First pitch breaking ball as Gardner showed bunt.
To give you the idea of what kind of speed Brett Gardner has, the average batter from home to first out of the left-handed batter's box is about 4.3 down the first base line. Brian Butterfield told me the other day that he's gotten him at 3.7, 3.8 from the batter's box to first base.
Yeah, that's about as fast as anybody in the game.
Yep. So bunting would, you would think, be a part of his game that will come along as he spends some time in the major leagues.
3-0 to a very fast Brett Gardner. We're scoreless here in the 6th. There's a strike. You came through the Yankee system. There was always talk of Mickey Mantle running 3-1 to first.
Yes.
That's hard to fathom.
On a bunt.
Yeah. On a drag bunt going 3-1 to first.
It's almost not fair to be able to run like that. Strike 2. And to be able to hit the ball that far.
Yeah. Mantle was maybe one of the best physical specimens that ever played the game.
I wish I could remember what Bo Jackson was from the right-handed batter's box. That's what I can't, but he could really, really run before he hurt his hip.
Full count, nobody out here in the 6th. Scoreless ball game. Boy, Gardner is tough with 2 strikes. His triple came with 2 strikes. He now has 36 two-strike hits, most in the majors.
Well, he's got a short swing. He waits very long on the pitch, sees it, tracks it. And when you have that and you can slash the ball and get it on the ground, you're going to come up with a lot of base hits.
Got him. Gardner chased the high fastball. 7 strikeouts for Brandon Morrow.
Tough to lay off of a high fastball when you're trying to get on base. But Morrow just throws this one right by Gardner. It looks so inviting when it's right there, and you feel like you could hit that ball a long way, but it's tough to get on top of it.
Derek Jeter has struck out twice against Morrow. He'll bat with 1 out. Breaking ball fouled out of play. Both times the Yankees had runners in scoring position. Brandon Morrow struck out 2 batters to end the threat. First time came in the second with Cano at second base and 1 out. Struck out Posada and Granderson. Then in the third, Granderson ground ball. Gonzalez hit short quickly to Overbay, and Jeter's retired.
Well, Brandon Morrow has been so good here, and so has the whole team. This season at home, they started off slowly. 5 games under 500 through the first 13 games. All the numbers not very good. But since then, everything has been clicking. ERA of 3, they're averaging over 6 runs a game. And hitting in that very vital runners in scoring position, over 300 as a team.
This is the 58th game played by the Blue Jays. A lot of great general managers will look at that 60-game mark, the milestone, say this is the team. And I think this team has now established their personality through 58 games. They have a pretty good idea who they are. Certainly the pitchers have really kind of settled into a pattern of good, strong outings.
General managers will really get a good feel of their team the first 60 games into a season. Break it up into those 60-game packages, and you get a good feel.
Fisher takes a ball outside, 3-0 now with 2 outs. Swinging, popped it up. Shortstop Alex Gonzalez calls for it. He'll wait for it and makes the catch. Swisher had the green light, 3-0, but got underneath the Morrow fastball. We're still scoreless.
Bottom of the 6th inning with Fred Lewis leading it off. You'll remember going back to the 25th and 26th of May. Missed a couple of games with that sore bunion. Well, here I have a soft gel padding, and here a half sock. And so what trainers George Poulos and Mike Frostad have done is taken some of this padding, insert it in the sock, and Fred Lewis now wears a half sock underneath the shoe to avoid some of the contact between the foot and the shoe. That's been able to keep him in the lineup along with icing after each and every game.
That foot problem has really been something very serious, and he has had a bunion operated on in the offseason a couple of years ago, and he's contemplating the same procedure later on, obviously after the season. But the training staff done a great job to keep him in the lineup. He missed a couple of games because of that.
That's got to be hard playing on this turf also, day in and day out. The pounding that it takes, your feet take when you play on this type of surface.
Broken bat to Vasquez, and easy out here to start the 6th. Yankees have really pitched Fred Lewis tough throughout this entire series.
They have jammed him, and Vasquez the first time up showed him a lot of pitches away. But since that first at bat, he has come right back inside to Freddie Lewis.
Javier Vasquez has 8 strikeouts this afternoon. All 8 of them here today have been swinging strikeouts. For the season, 51 of his 48 strikeouts have been swings and misses. Get a lot of hitters to chase that pitch off the plate.
Well, he's a pitcher, too. He's not a guy that goes up there and just blows the ball by you. He's got 4 pitches that he will use at any time in the count and works his way through each of the batters thinking, but his stuff is outstanding.
Good fastball on the corner.
A lot of times when you have pitchers who have 4 pitches and they have to methodically work their way through the batters, they can't throw it 94, 95 miles an hour like Vasquez can.
Aaron Hill to left field. He got under it. Granderson has plenty of room. He's calling for it, but yields to Brett Gardner. Makes the catch. 2 outs here in the 6th. Let's check in again with Sam Cosentino.
Well, you can pick up a free beach towel at the J Shop. Spend $125 at any J Shop location and receive a free Blue Jays beach towel. The offer valid while supplies last. JShop.ca or 1-877-J-SHOP to pick up your latest and greatest Jays merchandise.
Well, good time for a beach towel as it's starting to warm up here in southern Ontario. I think summertime coming. 2 outs now for Adam Lind. Off the plate. Blue Jays looking for their first base hit. Javier Vasquez has walked 3 but struck out 8.
He has lost his last 3 starts against the Blue Jays, has Vasquez, but his ERA is just over 2 in those games. Today's game is looking a lot like those 3. Strong, but he's matched up against a good pitcher.
Now, this homestand has been a rough one for Adam Lind. He is now 4 for 34 on the homestand. He got drilled by David Price fastball on the back of his right elbow. And he's now wearing that protective pad over that elbow, but it's been a tough go for him. He's hit some balls sharply even in yesterday's game. Breaking ball on the corner. Full count, 2 outs here, bottom of the 6th. A scoreless tie. Brandon Morrow and Javier Vasquez. Another great pitching matchup. A 2-out walk will bring Vernon Wells to the plate. Vernon Wells has been very aggressive throughout this series, swinging at a lot of first pitches. Vasquez starting him off with a first pitch breaking ball back in the first, and he grounded to the third baseman. breaking ball at the knees for a strike. Vernon Wells' home run yesterday against Andy Pettit was to the opposite field. Hit it in the Yankees bullpen in right center.
And that is pretty much where they have pitched him all series long. Everything away. Make him reach for it. That time that ball was elevated a little bit and caught too much of the plate to hit it out. They know how quick Vernon Wells is inside when they try to come in there. He has shown it all season long. All of his home runs have been to left field, except that last one.
He's in a hole 0-2. Vasquez with 8 strikeouts. Vernon Wells deep to left field. You can kiss it goodbye. He got a breaking ball and he didn't miss it. 15th home run for Vernon Wells. The Jays are on top 2-0.
The pitch prior to the home run, it looked like Vernon Wells had the same type of pitch, a spinning breaking ball, and he fouled it off. This time, he doesn't miss it. Hanger, and he knows he got it. Cervelli wants the ball way outside, but it hangs up into the sweet zone, and Vasquez and Cervelli both know when Vernon Wells puts a swing like that, they're going to be down.
What a bounce back year for Vernon Wells. Quick bat. Hammered that breaking ball deep into the seats. First hit of the ball game issued by Vasquez is a 2-run home run to give the Jays the lead.
No doubt about it.
Off the plate. 2 balls and a strike to Bautista. A 2-out walk to Adam Lynn brought Vernon Wells to the plate. And he gets the first hit of the game off Javier Vasquez. Two balls, 2 strikes. Bautista strikes out. 9th strikeout for Vasquez. First hit of the ball game allowed by Javier Vasquez is a 2-run home run off the bat of Vernon Wells. A high breaking ball. No doubt about it. Number 15. Jays lead 2-0. Presented by Burger King. home of the Whopper.
Well, it's actually a series of plays, and it'll start off with this triple by Brett Gardner with one out in the third inning. Drives the ball in the left center field, so he is standing at third base with one out, and the very dangerous Derek Jeter is at the plate. But the maturity and the composure of Brandon Morrow settles down, strikes out Jeter, gets Nick Swisher looking at the fastball, and gets out of it.
We have seen that consistently with this young pitching staff. They are rattle-proof, and they have the ability to pitch around extra base hits, as Morrow did back in the third. Mark Teixeira leads things off. Blue Jays up 2-0 as the Yankees hit here in the seventh. 2 balls and no strikes.
What's the frame of mind now for Brandon Morrow as he takes the mound now with the lead?
Same as it's been all game long. Pitch ahead, use your fastball. Stay aggressive.
And that's exactly what he's doing. 3 good fastballs to Teixeira to open the seventh.
No reason to change your approach at this point. Yankees have collected just 3 hits against Morrow. Gonzalez behind second base to Overbay. Teixeira's retired. He's like a vacuum out there.
Well, positioning is such a big part of inner defense for the Blue Jays, and they do a really good job of it. Teixeira sends the ball back through the middle, but look where Alex Gonzalez is playing. If he is playing normally, like he does, straightaway shortstop, that's a single to open the seventh. But he takes away a hit from big Mark Teixeira.
1 out now for Alex Rodriguez. Rodriguez, a single in 2 trips, was called out on strikes in the fourth. .97 upstairs. On the ground, Bautista at third. Rodriguez is retired. Check in with Sam Cosentino.
Buck, I spoke to Rick Langford before the game, and the one thing they wanted to see Brandon Morrow do, we saw it last game, is tone back in the fastball, sacrificing velocity for control. But knowing he has that in his back pocket, of the last 4 pitches thrown, we've seen fastballs at 98, 95, and 93. And the ability to add that little extra has given him a lot of success here today.
It's the most consistent fastball he's had all year long. He had 96, 97 in the first inning, and he's got it here in the seventh.
Consistent, not just in miles per hour like you were talking about, but where he's throwing it. That one down. Everything has been around the plate.
Hasn't walked the batter. And this command is a direct result of the mechanical adjustments that Bruce Walton and Rick Langford have suggested. Repeatability. We talk about it all the time with starting pitchers, how they can repeat their delivery. When you repeat your delivery, you're going to be in the strike zone.
Everything comes out of your hand the same way. And whenever you talk to Bruce Walton, and if you talk to Rick Langford, they say Brandon Morrow wants to be good. He wants to learn and get better.
A ball and a strike. Through the right side, past the diving Aaron Hill. Robbie Cano has his second hit of the game. A 2-out single.
Yankees get a base runner for the first time since the third inning. Cano, with that great batting average, squeaks one right by Aaron Hill. Good effort there.
Morrow had retired 13 in a row before the Cano 2-out single here in the seventh. Jorge Posada with the Yankees down by 2 and 2 outs. Great movement. That's the two-seam fastball. It'll be 91 to 94. The four-seam fastball, 95 to 98, 99.
Easy cheese.
Easy cheese with late movement. Breaking ball. Cano's going to move up to second. Sam?
Well, Bucky wasn't there very long, but I think the greatest form of flattery is that which you get from your peers. And when speaking to Lyle Overbay earlier this week, he said the few that do get to first base speak so highly of Brandon Morrow's stuff.
Yeah, ball players, once they get to first basemen generally say, how's he throwing tonight? You've had that conversation.
Yeah.
You played first base.
You get a lot of information from batters when they get down there. This guy's tough. This guy's nasty. I don't like facing this guy.
Yeah, and it's amazing how frank they are. They'll tell you the truth. Boy, I can't see this guy's breaking ball at all. And Lyle Overbay will talk to a lot of base runners there and get some information about his own pitchers. A ball and a strike to Posada with Cano at second. Breaking ball upstairs. Two balls and a strike, 2 outs. Two and two. Morrow has 7 strikeouts on the afternoon. He's allowed the Yankees just 4 hits. He's yet to walk a batter. First time this afternoon, the bullpen starts to go to work. Scott Downs begins to loosen up. Downs pitched the 9th inning in yesterday's game.
Brandon Morrow's next pitch will be his 100th of the game.
First walk of the ball game issued by Brandon Morrow. 2 on, 2 outs here in the 7th. Vernon Wells' 2-run home run. Bottom of the 6th inning, the only runs of this ball game. For Wells, his 15th home run and 39th and 40th RBI. Very economical. Right back in there with a strike.
That is something we have seen a lot of in this series. The pitcher getting ahead, strike one. I love the conversation you have with John Buck about that before today's game.
Yeah, Buck said he wanted his pitchers, especially the bullpen guys, to come in and be aggressive, throw strikes to the inner half, and send a message that they're going to be aggressive and try to pitch ahead with fastballs. Cut on and fouled into the glove of Molina. Morrow ahead, a ball and 2 strikes.
Granderson is a home run threat. He has hit 3 home runs this year in 111 at-bats. 30 last year as a member of the Tigers.
1-2. Struck him out. Backdoor breaking ball freezes Curtis Granderson. 8th strikeout of the afternoon for Brandon Morrow. The late break catches the outside corner. Molina frames it perfectly. Granderson is called out. of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. And what a game it's been. Javier Vasquez and Brandon Morrow, another great pitching duel. Morrow, with his 8th strikeout, ended the Yankee threat in the 7th. Javier Vasquez has allowed just 1 hit. That hit a 2-run home run to Vernon Wells.
After a 2-out walk to Adam Linz, which was big.
Linz actually had 2 walks today. None bigger than the one that came in the 6th. Alex Gonzalez sold for 2. Popped up left field. Brett Gardner jogging in, makes the catch in shallow left. Tune in Tuesday as the Jays start their 9-game road trip in Tampa. Playing against the Rays, it'll be Brian Talent versus Jeff Neiman. 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on all Sportsnet channels. It'll be St. Petersburg to play the Tampa Bay Rays, and then on to Denver to play the Colorado Rockies, and finally San Diego to take on the Padres.
And I think the Blue Jays are going to see Jimenez on Friday, I believe. He's pitching today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That would be his 5th day, Friday. Lucky.
Yeah, just what they wanted to hear.
Well, they haven't had any problems against the aces from the other team.
Not at all. It's been a great test against good pitching staffs, and they've answered the call. Lyle Overbay with the count in his favor. 2 balls and no strikes. 1 out here in the 7th. Center field. Curtis Granderson to his right, camps under it and makes the catch. 2 outs. Here's the schedule we're talking about. The next 5 series after the Rays, the Rockies, and the Padres, the San Francisco Giants will come to town, and then right behind them, the Cardinals.
3 first-place teams. St. Louis is in first place. San Diego is in first place. Tampa is in first place. Colorado making some noise out in the West. And the Giants, you mentioned their pitching staff earlier. If you run into Lincecum and Kane and Zito and Sanchez, they can make life tough.
Well, we got a chance to see the Canadian Jeff Francis with the Rockies as well when we go into Denver. Aaron Cook, Ubaldo Jimenez, Jeff Francis make a pretty good pitching staff. Lots of good pitching coming up in the next 5 series. Jeremy Reed with 2 outs in the 7th. Fouls off a curveball.
Speaking of good pitching, how about Javier Vasquez here at Rogers Center? He has had 6 career starts here now, and he's only given up 8 earned runs. He has held the Blue Jays to 1 earned run or less 4 times.
Popped up. Jeter behind second. Quick inning for Vasquez. 3 up, 3 down in the 7th, but he finds himself trailing Brandon Morrow and the Blue Jays 2-0. Brandon Morrow has come out to start the 8th inning. 7 innings of 4-hit ball. He is shutting out the Yankees on those 4 hits. Walked a batter and struck out 8. He has pitched 8 innings 3 times this season. That's his longest outing of the season. 8 innings. The 8-9-1 for the Yankees. Francisco Cervelli, the catcher, leads things off. Fastball evens the count at 1-1. Scott Downs, the left-hander. Jason Frazier, the right-hander, both ready.
We were talking in between innings, do you bring Brandon Morrow back out here for the 8th inning, even though he is over 100 pitches? Good pitch there. We were both in unison saying yes. Yeah. I think so.
He has been around the plate. He has not labored with his delivery whatsoever all afternoon. Walked just 1 batter.
Blue Jays have an off day tomorrow, so he won't pitch for 6 more days, so he'll have a little extra rest.
Boy, Cervelli got a piece of it. I don't know how he fouled that ball off. Did a good job. Yeah, the extra day certainly factors in, but also talk about the mindset of the Yankees batters. If they were to knock Morrow out or have Morrow leave the game, that's got to be a real good feeling for them.
Yeah, I think we got that guy out of the game, and I think Cito Gaston knows that. He was a hitter himself, and when you've got a guy who's dealing.
Ow! That's a tough spot. Looked like it got him up on the left hand. And we had mentioned Cervelli had been hit a couple of times in the head. Hopefully it hit him in a good spot.
I think it got the meat of his shoulder. We saw him earlier yesterday really diving out over the plate, and I think a fastball from Brandon Morrow just got away from him.
And Gene Monahan, the veteran trainer, wanting to talk to Cervelli. He just wants to get on first. It may have caught him in the back of the shoulder, right on the point of that left shoulder. Here's a guy that's been hit in the head a couple times, and he had to have awful bad thoughts about that pitch. I think Morrow asked him if he was all right, and Cervelli acknowledged it. And now, after Morrow hits the leadoff batter here in the 8th, Cito Gaston has come out of the dugout. Very slow, deliberate walk to the mound.
I think he was going to go as long as Morrow didn't give up a base runner. With 2 strikes, he hits the batter. What an afternoon for Brandon Morrow.
Terrific job in a situation where he can help sweep the Yankees. Nice tip of the cap to acknowledge a great crowd here at the Rogers Center. Morrow leaves up 2-0. Runner at first base in this 2-run ball game. 29th appearance he pitched in yesterday's game. Had a great inning in the 9th. Downs came on in the 9th inning in relief of Ricky Romero in the 2-2 game. Struck out a batter in his only inning of work.
Cito Gaston's primary pitcher that he uses in the 8th inning.
Brett Gardner is the 0 for 0. He faced Downs but doesn't have an official at bat. Breaking ball outside for ball 1. A triple in the 3rd, his 3rd triple of the season. Came with 1 out, but he was stranded at 3rd when Morrow struck out Jeter and Swisher to end the inning. Hit him. Back-to-back hit batters as Gardner was trying to hang in there to guard against that breaking ball. He takes one off the elbow. So Downs hits Gardner to put 2 on here.
Both of the batters right on top of the plate and not giving an inch. Listen to this. Forearm or elbow area.
Well, wherever it was, it hit him square, that's for sure. And he's pointing down to the wrist area. Looked like it hit him higher on the arm, but he's showing Mick Kelleher, the first base coach, it hit him around the wrist. So 2 on, nobody out now. Derek Jeter will face Scott Downs. Jeter against Downs, 5 for 8 in the head-to-head matchup. First pitch for a strike.
This is where Derek Jeter gets really tough right here, really grinding out at bats with runners on base.
Jeter had the 2-run home run against Ricky Romero in the 5th with his club trailing 1-0. Inside off the plate.
A lot like Vernon Wells' home run yesterday. This was to the opposite field. It was up and driven to right field. No doubt about it, into the bullpen area. 2-run home run that put them ahead until Gonzalez tied it later in the game.
Outside corner for a strike. Jeter voicing his displeasure with the call. That's not a strike, but he'll step back in. Just turned in. Spoke to Bruce Dreckman. A ball and 2 strikes. Nobody out. First and second. Fair ball down the right field line. Cervelli around third. He'll score. Reed throws it back to the infield. Jeter delivers a double down the right field line. It's a 1-run ball game.
That's why he is so tough, because he can take that ball that looks like it's in the catcher's mitt and just shoot it down the right field corner. He waits a long time. Downs tries to go outside, and then that half swing goes out and just gets it right by Overbay in the bag into the corner. 1 run is in, and Mark Gardner with the good speed goes all the way to third. Now, still nobody out. Runners at second and third. Cito Gaston back out on the mound. And it looks like he's going to go to the pen once again.
Takes the ball from Scott Downs. Jason Frazier jogs in from the left field bullpen. Downs hit a batter and gave up a double. It's a 1-run game. Still nobody out here in the 8th. MLB 10, the show, only on PlayStation.
Pitches into the 8th inning, and he was dealing. Just 4 hits. He'll be charged with that run that just crossed the plate. Francisco Cervelli, who was hit by Morrow to start the 8th inning. 8 strikeouts. His season high is 9 and just 1 base on balls. So he is out of the game. He can still win it. So he's going to stick around, and it's up to Jason Frazier in a tight situation. 2nd and 3rd and nobody out. 2-3-4 coming on for Frazier.
Frazier pitched in the game on Friday night. Had a good inning of work in relief in the 9th inning. Walked a batter, but then struck out a batter and got 2 fly ball outs. Nick Swisher with runners at 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Takes a first pitch breaking ball outside. Squared to show bunt. Curious move in that situation.
Maybe just he wanted to see a pitch, and it's okay just to do that. Maybe you draw one of the infielders in. They are back, conceding the run. The tying run is at 3rd. The winning run, or the go-ahead run, is at 2nd, so that's why the infield is back.
Interesting situation here. You don't want to draw in your infield and allow that ground ball to sneak through. Cost you 2 runs.
So much easier as a hitter with that infield in.
1-1. Good fastball. Frazier's had a good fastball last couple of times we've seen him out. A little bit more crisp finish to it.
He certainly has. He felt like earlier in the year that he was pushing the ball. So he's made a conscious effort to get his arm up a little bit quicker and drive towards home plate, and it has really helped in his speed.
A ball and 2 strikes. Swisher went too far. He's called out. Molina puts the tag on him. Home plate umpire Bruce Drexman called him out immediately. Now Joe Girardi is back, and he is out here now to talk about this, and he's out of the game for talking about strikes, automatic ejection, and Frazier gets a big strikeout. Joe Girardi gets ejected.
Remember when Nick Swisher struck out in the 3rd inning on that inside pitch? He had some words for the home plate umpire. And then he was just asking him for some help on that check swing. But Bruce Drexman saying, I saw it. I saw that you went around. I'm going to call it myself. I think that's why Swisher was so hot. That's why Girardi is hot, too.
Bruce Drexman didn't hesitate. He called it quickly.
It's a change-up that's down in the dirt. You be the judge. Does Swisher go around? Watch Drexman, the home plate umpire, sees it right away and says you did.
So now the infield is in. You can see that Joe Girardi comes out and then he gets ejected. They're going to put Teixeira on here.
This has happened before with Alex Rodriguez on the on-deck circle. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, where they have walked Mark Teixeira to set up the double play, but Alex Rodriguez has really foiled him.
5 times Teixeira has been walked intentionally to bring A-Rod to the plate with the bases loaded, and he's hit 5 grand slams.
20 grand slams now in his career as Alex Rodriguez, and he takes it personally.
Well, Cito Gaston electing to set up the double play. 20 grand slams for Alex Rodriguez. Hit his first grand slam on April 18th, 1996 off Clint Sadowski of the Tigers. Five for 5 with 3 grand slams and 18 runs batted in over 7 appearances after a Teixeira intentional walk. First pitch strike from Frazier.
Rodriguez takes it personal. He was trying to pass along some helpful hints to Robinson Cano, the on-deck hitter, about hitting with runners on base, and he was telling them, hey, the pressure is squarely on the pitcher. You have to learn to focus to swing at strikes, and when you do that, good things happen.
2-1, Jays lead it. Bases loaded. 1 out in the 8th. Good changeup. That split change dives down, and he swings over the top of it. Rodriguez's last 3 grand slams have followed intentional walks to Mark Teixeira. Frazier ahead 0-2. Block gets away from Molina. Here comes Gardner, and the game is tied.
Great speed by Gardner. The runner at third base allows that run to score. Anybody else, and I don't think they try and score because you have such a dangerous hitter at the plate. But with that kind of speed, you have to be aggressive and try and score. Molina blocks it, and it ricochets off his chest protector a little too far. Gardner breaks right away, and he knows with that great speed he's going to score. That also allows the 2 runners to move up.
So we're tied at 2. 1 out. Jeter moves to third, Teixeira to second. Infield drawn in. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Rodriguez. Struck him out. Fastball at the knees gets Rodriguez.
He was sitting on something off speed because he's too good of a hitter to let a fastball go right by him. But Frazier crosses him up. Fastball right at the knees over the plate.
Cito Gaston going to go out and have a visit here. He's got a base open. Cano has 2 hits already this afternoon. Oftentimes, Gaston will talk strategy here with his pitcher. Who are you most comfortable facing?
Yeah, there are some options here. You have first base open now with the wild pitch. Do you walk Robinson Cano? Do you pitch around him to see if he'll get himself out? You can make a pitching change. Do you feel more comfortable facing Posada, the on-deck hitter? One thing you want to talk about, though, we're hitting with runners in scoring position. Robinson Cano has been great this year. 344 average. So we'll see how they play it.
The interesting numbers in this decision, both Cano and Posada against Frazier are 3 for 11. But you talk about today, Cano's had the better swings and better at bats.
Who's hotter?
Yeah.
Who's hotter right now? And Robinson Cano is very hot.
A double and a single in 3 at bats. If you're going to pitch to him, you pitch to him to get him out. Breaking ball just wide of the plate.
Get him out, but don't give him anything good to hit?
No, I don't think if you're going to pitch around him, I think you put him on.
Don't even mess around.
Don't even mess around with him. So I think if you're pitching to him, you're pitching to get him out. Base hit, left field. 1 run in. Teixeira right behind Jeter. Throw to the plate, not in time. Cut off. Throw to second. Not in time at second. Cano delivers his 3rd hit of the afternoon.
Last year, Robinson Cano hit .207 with runners in scoring position. Hard to believe when you see the kind of year that he's having this year and the type of player that he is. They try to go inside fastball, and he just slashes the ball, fights it off into left field. When the ball hits the turf, high bounce, so Fred Lewis has to leave his feet to catch the ball. That allows Teixeira to come into the back door with the 4th run here in the 8th inning. He is such a tough out at the plate because he sprays the ball all over the field.
0 for 10 coming into this game in the series. 3 hits today and 2 big RBI in that at bat. 4-2 Yankees lead. Breaking ball down. Brandon Morrow saddled with a no decision, 7+ a batter. A ball and no strike to Posada. Two and out. Two hit batters started the inning. Brandon Morrow hit Francisco Cervelli, and then Scott Downs came in. First batter he faced, Brett Gardner. He too was hit by a pitch.
That just set up the whole inning, didn't it? They're number 8 and 9 batters reaching base without even putting bat on the ball.
Yeah, that's always a concern for a manager facing the Yankees. You got to get the bottom part of the order out so you don't deal with the meat of the order like A-Rod and Cano with runners on.
Well, people like Jeter, they just their eyes get bigger, and Cano and A-Rod and Teixeira, they're so tough going through there trying to navigate it with runners on base. I mean, they live for those situations.
Intentional pass to Posada, and that'll bring Gaston out of the bullpen, and he's called the bullpen. Jason Frazier leaves. A couple of big strikeouts, but Robbie Cano with the 2-run single. Rami Lewis. Statistical information provided by Stats Inc. Music provided by Universal Canada. Rami Lewis on in relief of Jason Frazier. Yankees have scored 4 runs here in the top of the 8th inning.
Lewis has done a nice job out of the bullpen. This will be his 12th game. He's well rested. He hasn't pitched in 5 days. The last time we saw him was the game against Tampa, where he faced one batter, Reed Brignac, and struck him out in that ball game. Features a good fastball and a good breaking ball. Just 3 base on balls, and that's always good to see for a young pitcher when he comes to the big leagues. Can he throw strikes?
Cano's at second, Posada's at first. Curtis Granderson swings at the first pitch and fouls it at the plate. Four runs on 2 hits for the Yankees here in the 8th. Molina thought about a throw to second.
Cano's getting a very aggressive lead down there at second base. Big secondary lead. Having a little fun with his ex-teammate.
Ball and a strike to Granderson. Up and in. Granderson lays off the outside pitch, 3-1. Granderson's the 9th man to bat here in this inning. Chased a high fastball. Full count now with 2 outs. Runners will be on the move. Anderson takes a breaking ball outside. That loads the bases again.
This is where it all started. Right here. The Yankees have made 2 hits, turned into 4 runs so far. A couple of hit batters and now 3 walks this inning.
Francisco Cervelli is the man that got us started. He was hit by a pitch from Brandon Morrow. 2 outs with the bases loaded. Takes the first pitch strike. Right field, Jeremy Reed over and makes the catch. The Blue Jays finally get out of the 8th inning. The Yankees break through with 4 runs on just 2 hits. They have taken the lead. Javier Vasquez in line for the win.
Buzzing with excitement tomorrow. That's the Blue Jays War Room, the draft room where all the scouts and new director of amateur scouting Andrew Tinish will conduct his first ever draft. The Blue Jays have made a concerted effort to add scouts this year. They have 4 of the first 41 picks that get started tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. You can follow it on BlueJays.com, but that's just a little inside look at what will be the busiest room in all of the building here tomorrow.
Always an exciting day for all the organizations. What a day for Javier Vasquez. He leaves the game after 7 innings, allowing just 1 hit. Gets congratulations from Andy Pettit and A.J. Burnett.
What looks so bad to start the 8th inning, so good right now for Javier Vasquez. He exits now in line for the win. 7 innings, that's the 3rd time this year that he has done that. Just the 1 hit you mentioned, that was the 2-run home run by Vernon Wells. 2 or fewer runs now in 4 of his last 5 outings, so it looks like he's turning around his season.
Jabba Chamberlain worked in yesterday's game, came on in the 8th inning with 2 outs, pitched an inning in the 3rd, struck out 3, allowed 2 hits. Jose Molina takes the first pitch low. Blue Jays with just 1 hit this afternoon. That's the 2-run home run by Vernon Wells. Molina lifts it into center field. Granderson on the run. Long run. Won't get it off his glove. Molina around first, headed to second. That ball went off the glove of Curtis Granderson. He was shallow in center field, and Molina starts things off with an opposite field double.
And that ball kept slicing away from Granderson at center field. Watch where he is playing when this ball is hit. Very shallow. He's got a long way to run. He thinks he has it, and it goes right off of his glove. He needed another half step, and he would have hauled it in, but it goes right off the glove for extra bases.
Blue Jays get the tying run to the plate. Fred Lewis 0 for 3 this afternoon. Oh for 13 in the series. One swing of the bat can erase all of that.
Yeah, you forget about those 13 at-bats. That's what we were thinking about. He can turn around a fastball. That's something that we have seen from Fred Lewis this year, and hit it hard.
Bouncing ball up the middle. That'll get past Cano. Molina's going to score. Granderson throws it back into second. It's a one-run game. First hit of the series for Fred Lewis. Drives in Jose Molina to make it 4-3.
And with him being the tying run, that runner at second base, Molina, who doesn't run well, Granderson's going to concede the run and keep the double play in order. Ryan Butterfield sends the big catcher home with the run, and Granderson doesn't even try to throw him out.
It's a pretty good call by Butterfield,
yes,
knowing that the Yankees can't allow Lewis to get to second.
If they try and cut that ball off or throw to home, Lewis is standing at second.
Aaron Hill tries to bunt and fouls it back. Blue Jays have scored a run here in the bottom of the 8th. Yankees with 4 in the top of the inning. Jabba Chamberlain gives up a leadoff double and a base hit. Mariano Rivera, number 42, of course, with Damaso Marte. Rivera has not pitched in the series. Ground ball, second base, Cano to Jeter for 1. Back to first, double play. Aaron Hill hit it hard, but right at the second baseman, Robbie Cano, who made quick work of it.
Yeah, a pretty double play turn by Cano. He was a long way away from second base when he flipped the ball. Look how far away he is. He backhands it to Jeter. Just get it to your shortstop and he'll do the rest. 4-6-3 double play clears the base runner. Now with the left-hander up, Adam Lynn, Tony Pena, the bench coach, takes over and he goes to the bullpen.
Jabba Chamberlain leaves. Mariano Rivera will come on with 2 outs here in the 8th. umpires are having a conference. Cito Gaston came out of the Blue Jays dugout, and he said, wait a minute. Tony Pena called for the left-hander, and Mariano Rivera came into the game. So when Rivera started warming up, Cito Gaston came out to the field and said, wait a minute, he called for the left-hander. And now Damaso Marte will come in to face Adam Lynn. So Pena, in his haste to get Rivera in the game, raised his left hand and made the motion left-handed. And Rivera, understanding that he was going to come in with 2 outs in the 8th, jogged onto the field.
I don't think I have ever seen that before, where the manager will come out and signal. The other guy would come out. Let's see the signal from Tony Pena, who is acting as the manager after Joe Girardi was kicked out of this ball game. After the double play by Aaron Hill, Tony Pena came out very quickly.
Clearly calling for the left-hander. High arm extended. And it's not as if Tony Pena's a right-handed thrower.
Right.
A left-handed thrower. He definitively called for the left-hander. So Damaso Marte will come out of the bullpen. And Cito Gaston picked up on it immediately as he watched the events unfold on the field. So Mariano Rivera is back in the bullpen. So now Marte will face Adam Lynn. Lynn is 2 for 5 against Marte.
What is he against Mariano Rivera?
0 for 4.
So it does matter.
It's a one-run game. Fred Lewis drove in Jose Molina with an RBI single. He was erased on the double play off the bat of Aaron Hill. And now Adam Lynn will bat with 2 outs here in the 8th against Damaso Marte, not Mariano Rivera. First pitch, strike. Breaking ball outside. High breaking ball and was out in front of. A ball and 2 strikes from Marte.
Right now, Adam Lynn is thinking about getting a pitch to hit. You've got to keep the inning going, get on base.
Marte strikes him out. So after all the confusion, Marte strikes out Adam Lynn. We've played 8 innings here. It's 4-3 New York.
Vote for your favorite Blue Jays, Vernon Wells, Jose Bautista, and Alex Gonzalez. You can cast your vote at bluejays.com. Each email address is eligible for a maximum of 25 votes. Vote early, vote often, and get your Blue Jays players in there.
Rami Lewis to Brett Gardner. First pitch strike here in the ninth. Yankees scored 4 in the top of the 8th. Blue Jays answered with a single run. It's a 4-3 game here as the Yankees bat in the ninth. Fastball goes off the glove of Molina. Jose Molina with the leadoff double in the 8th came in to score to make it a 1-run game. Good fastball just off the plate outside.
Yeah, and Rami Lewis's job right now is to get his team back in that dugout as quickly as possible. Throw strikes. Keep that momentum. After the Jays scored a run there in the 8th inning. In that third base dugout.
Pretty good pitch down and in, but it's a ball. 3 balls and a strike to the leadoff batter here in the ninth. Wow. Looked like a pretty good pitch, and Gardner was surprised. He's been issued the leadoff walk. Derek Jeter with the big hit in the 8th inning. An opposite field double just inside the bag at first. Drove in the first run in that 4-run inning.
And there's a lot of ways now that Tony Pena can work this. Jeter handles the bat so well. Gardner's got some speed. Yankees looking for that add-on run here in the 9th inning.
Good fastball for a strike. Brett Gardner not very comfortable at first, but it didn't take him long yesterday to get comfortable. He had a big stolen base in the 12th inning. And Sean Camp pitching in the game. A ball and a strike to Derek Jeter.
If you don't feel comfortable over at first base stealing, you could start the runner a different way and play hit and run. 3 players in the American League have at least 20 stolen bases, and Brett Gardner is one of them.
Jeter on the ground. Aaron Hill has to go to first, and Jeter's retired. Gardner moves up.
That'll work just like a sacrifice. Jeter was taking some shots to right field. It's interesting when you have to hold a runner on over at first base. Essentially, you're playing with 3 infielders because of that hole on the right side. The second baseman has to crowd towards second base. Jeter took some shots to shoot the ball to right field, but still advances the runner.
First time Rami Lewis has faced the Yankees. First pitch strike to Nick Swisher. Swisher has had issues with the strike zone all afternoon, going back to his first strikeout in the 3rd inning. Up and away. 1-1. Big run at second base for the Yankees. Trying to tack on a little insurance here. They lead it by a score 4-3. Brett Gardner with the leadoff walk moved to second on the ground out. Up and away. 2-1. There goes Gardner to third. Fouled out of play by Swisher.
Oh, he had that stolen. Last inning when Robbie Lewis came in to face Cervelli. Check that. Granderson with the runner at second. He was just giving one looks to the runner. Gardner picked up on that, and after he turned his head away to look back at home, he was gone.
Molina had no chance. He was bailed out by Swisher fouling off the ball. 2-2 with one out here. Again, Swisher is not going to be in agreement with that call. This time he packs the lumber back. Inside fastball gets Swisher third strikeout this afternoon for the right fielder.
And you can't say anything because you've had it twice. You have talked to the umpire about it one more time, and you might not be around, so just go back to the dugout.
Big out by Robbie Lewis. Brett Gardner still at second with two down. Mark Teixeira takes the first pitch, strike. Jeremy Reed in right field. Makes the catch. Teixeira's retired. Robbie Lewis strands a base runner at second base. Keeps it a one-run game. Vernon Wells, Jose Bautista, Alex Gonzalez to bat in the ninth. Today's post-game reaction and complete coverage from a busy day in baseball, including the Red Sox-Orioles highlights. Get connected right after the game. Ramiro Pena has come on to play defense at third base. Kind of a curious move given the fact that Alex Rodriguez would be the first batter in the next inning should the Jays tie it.
Wasn't on base last time either, so it's something that we don't know about. But what we do know, Mariano Rivera into the game. Look at the numbers for the veteran. Mariano Rivera, over his last 4 appearances, has allowed just 1 hit in 4 scoreless innings. 3 for 3 in save opportunities over that time. And in his career, he has really pitched the Blue Jays tough. He has converted his last 24 saves against the Blue Jays. Rivera into the game in the 9th inning. First batter he'll face is Vernon Wells.
Vernon Wells has a walk-off home run against Rivera. That came back in 2006. An 11th inning home run with 1 out. He's got good numbers against Rivera. 6 for 17 with the home run. Blue Jays trail it by 1. Ground ball, third base. Rivera Pena just in the game and makes a good play to retire Wells.
Wow. He's got a great glove. Does Pena. Can play shortstop. Third base. He shows why right here. Tricky in between hop that he stays right with it and gets the first out.
Boy, it's tough to come off the bench and get tested with such a tricky hop. You could see it rattle around in his glove, but he stayed with it.
He pinched Graham the other day, but hasn't been in the field. Nice play to open the 9th.
Jose Bautista with 1 out. Right to Cano. Hit hard, but great defense as they had him played up the middle.
He's the interesting guy, Mariano Rivera. When you talk about active save percentage leaders, nearly 90% of the time he is going to close out the game. And what's interesting about that, he's a guy you know what's coming. You know what he's going to throw you, and you still can't hit it.
And that late moving cut fastball has proven to be a very effective pitch. Jays down to their last out. Alex Gonzalez.
Rivera's last outing, he was clocked at 95 miles an hour with that great movement. And he was asked about that after the game, and he says, I don't care how hard I was throwing. Location has always been the most important thing with me.
In on the hands, broken back to third. Pena. Rivera makes quick work of the Jays in the 9th. Picks up the save. Yankees score 4 runs in the 8th inning to come back to erase a 2-0 deficit. Javier Vazquez was a terrific starter for New York. They salvaged 1 game out of the series. Yankees win 4-3. Stay tuned for Connected.